Hello there. Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Apparently I'm in a time warp. So sorry about that. So it is Wednesday, the 17th of July, and I know that I didn't do a live last week, and I didn't even say anything about it. I have been incredibly busy until basically today. Moving the shop and getting all the things done. And today has been my first day of nothing to do relating to the shop. So it has been a day of getting caught up in housework. so um, so um, this energy update, I've kind of been like ruminating on kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And as you know, we do have a full moon coming up on the 21st. Um, and it is a blue moon. It's the second full moon of the month. Um, but although we can talk about the full moon a little bit, I think that really what I wanted to talk about more is what's going on. Right? That's kind of the point of these energy updates, was to be like, talking about what energies are going on, what umbrella are we kind of underneath, or are we affected by here all together on the planet. And I know a lot of times I've included a lot of astrological information, or some lives have been kind of astrology heavy, others maybe not so much. And um, there are people that have YouTube channels and blogs and websites that are devoted to astrology, and they do a really great job of it. And if you're kind of wanting to really get into, I guess, a lot more of the astrology right now, maybe check out some of those other resources. It is always helpful to not only do a little bit of research and reading with Western astrology, but Vedic astrology as well, because Vedic astrology seems to be scarily accurate. um, and with the events that we had transpire earlier this week, and then probably just a lot of the shifts and changes and upheaval that you are experiencing in your own personal lives, astrology really has a lot to say about that, and it is quite interesting. And I like to look at astrology and the different systems of astrology, because there isn't just one, as kind of a mesh framework, blueprint, matrix, I mean, however you want to say it, that has very exact mathematical, astronomical calculations that predict and say what energies we, are experiencing presently, what's coming down the pipeline. And of course, things can be uh, with like certain transits or certain astrological events, even if the energy is extreme, or could be extreme, could kind of not be so extreme. But so there's kind of varying degrees, I guess, of, I don't want to say accuracy, but intensity, right? But just with my own research and my own, delving into astrology leading up to this week, watching videos that other people have on YouTube that they recorded well before the 15th and stuff. it's pretty interesting to see how the astrology continues to predict all these changes that we're going through, not just as individuals, but in our country, globally, all of that. And so, really, what I would like to speak to tonight is, like I mentioned, that the full moon is coming up. It is a full moon in Capricorn. Now, when we had the last full moon, it was like in, I think, 1 degree of Capricorn. So, kind of at the beginning of Capricorn. And then now we're like 29, it's going to be like 29 degrees of Capricorn. So, basically, we had, the last full moon was. Right around the solstice, right? That, in July and June, and then that was the beginning of Capricorn, and now this is showing up, the very end degrees of Capricorn. And so we have kind of a very strong imprint or a strong energy of something that started, and then kind of a wrapping up and a finishing of that. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn as well, which is, has to do with karma and, understanding lessons, completion of lessons. And we also have, like I said, if you really want to dig into the astrology of all of this, there's Pluto showing up, there's Uranus showing up, there's, I think it's Uranus and Mars are interacting. And so there's just a lot of intense, volatile, but strong energy that has been lining up. And, sometimes we see when there are these astrological like conjunctions or, transits or aspects, whatever they are. Um, it's not like that exact moment that those, planets or celestial bodies might come into each other's, sphere, whether they're opposing or they're lining up, whatever it is. It's not like that at that very moment that something happens and then it's just like the energy is done. There's a flowing in and kind of like an intense aspect, and then a flowing out. And so, we see the energy, maybe kind of come in almost a little early or, a few days after, right? So, I think it's been very interesting for me to when there have been certain events, whether they're political or like weather, um, and it doesn't have to be necessarily all bad things, but kind of when something transpires and then kind of looking at the astrology that was surrounding that and then kind of going backwards in time and seeing kind of what was predicted or what was suggested as a possibility. It is really, really amazing to see how all of these things are playing out. And but speaking of the full moon, we have as I keep saying when I do these energy updates, it's like we're being presented again with the wrapping up of something. And I think a lot of people are seeing this in their personal lives, whether it's the ending of a job or the ending of like a relationship, but more like uh relationships and interactions like that you're like, I've outgrown this. This doesn't serve me, who I am now. Perhaps you're moving, perhaps you're, moving locations. Like I just moved my store that I had been in for 7.5 years. And there's a we it's not like this is the only time or it's the only time that this will ever happen. I mean, energies cycle back around, but we are being gifted with an opportunity to wrap things up. And you'll you see in your life, you see in other people's lives how maybe there are certain patterns that repeat, whether it is themes in relationships surrounding money, life lessons, and you kind of almost see if you're experiencing someone else go through those repeating patterns, or you kind of had the hindsight, and you look in your life and you see repeating patterns, or even maybe it's like family patterns, right? Family karma. Oftentimes we wonder, like, why is this happening again? Why, if it's your own life, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I want to get off of this merry-go-round. Why am I going through this again? Right. And I don't believe that the repeating of an energy or a cycle is like the universe is punishing us. I don't believe that. Of course, if there are certain energies or themes that are challenging, or that that don't feel good, then it feels like punishment, right? But we always have choice, in one way or the other, of, do I want to keep on this path that is somewhat circular and repeating something that I've already done? Do I need to have maybe a deeper understanding of this theme, of this lesson, of this experience? And or do I want this? Is this what I want to experience in my reality? The catch is that maybe we go through several repeats, of a theme, of a lesson, of whatever, and then we realize that it is a repeating pattern, and then we're like, how do I get off the ride? you know and when we identify it and we realize it, is really probably like the most pivotal moment of, if it's not working, or if it doesn't, you know, feel expansive and good and full of love, if that's what we're wanting to experience, then we identify it, and then we, make those shifts, those changes, um, work on adapting a different viewpoint, perspective. And so we, get on a different merry-go-round ride, right? While we're still alive. But when you haven't had the realization yet, and you're just going around and going around like a hamster wheel. Some people probably never have the realization ever, and maybe they're just like, this sucks, or maybe it is what it is. They don't even realize that there's something better, because it's just maybe not only what they're repeating in their life, but what they've seen the people before them, whether it's in their families or in society or whatever, just do over and over again. So, like I said, that pivotal moment is when you realize that you want to do something different. And it doesn't even have to be better. Like, it probably is better, like, you're like, I want something, better than this, whatever it is. Um, but it's just at least different than what you've been doing and repeating. That is the pivotal moment of realizing it. And then the responsibility falls on your shoulders to make that shift and change. And there's like a million ways to do that. And it can seem very, very overwhelming, because it's like, I've been doing this for so long. This is maybe all I know. Maybe, fears come up, fear of failure, fear of just the unknown. But maybe it's exciting too, right? Maybe it feels liberating. So, but once you've had that pivotal moment of realization, the responsibility is now on your shoulders to make the shift and change, because you've identified that you want something different. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, um, even with the realization that's not really what you want to do, then, I mean, that's your choice, right? But it's your choice, right? It's not like being done to you. You are choosing it every step of the way. And I understand that there are situations, whether it's socioeconomic, it's, very deeply ingrained, learned behaviors, mindset, physical, you know, um, illnesses, or things, pitfalls that come from maybe having a, I'll just say unhealthy lifestyle, but I mean, it could just be like, I don't know, maybe you're, for example, you're really sedentary, or you were not raised being physically active, right? And so then that has had certain effect on your health and your mental health, your physical health, and all that. And it's just like, you not only have to develop new neural pathways in your brain of like how to even just like do something differently, but you have to actually build muscle. You have to kind of undo or redo. Yes, you're welcome, Daniel. I know I'm back. I'm here. You have to kind of not only relearn, but you have to learn just like you're a baby, right? And kind of start over. So, um, all of that is to say that, um, I'm just me, right? I'm not like blaming anybody. It's like, oh, well, if you're on the merry-go-round that you don't like and you're in this vicious cycle and then you realize it that you don't like it and you want to change and you don't, well, it's your fault. But I mean, that's kind of the sentiment, but it's just this is to empower you to say you um um you are navigating through your life. This is your life. You chose to come here and experience whatever you want to experience. And yes, we experience things just from, being around other people, or, living in a certain part of the world or the country, or our friends or family or whatever. Like, yes, we experience lots of other things just by people who are around us, strangers, right? But the choice is always yours. And the thing is that, yes, the choice sometimes is to make a very, um, noticeable, deliberate, a physical decision, either to stop doing something or to start doing something. Or, maybe the decision is like, I'm not going to be friends with this person anymore, or I'm going to change jobs, or I'm going to start drinking more water, or, whatever it is, right? But all of those things, because we're humans and we're physical and, we're manifested in the physical. I mean, those are all important things. And like we do things in the physical, right? We interact with the physical world all the time because we're part of it. But really, where the shift starts and then kind of radiates out from is your energy, right? And so that's why in all of these different spiritual practices and beliefs and yeah, that is, meditation or prayer, mindfulness, and integrating, the body in those kinds of practices to where, the physical is almost kind of like married to and integrated with your energetic self and your soul self, and you kind of, you realize and become integrated. All those parts of you start to, kind of flow through through life, right? It's not just the physical, it's not just the spiritual, it's not just the energetic, it's all of that. And sometimes it's important to identify those kind of separate categories, right? So we can maybe really hone in and focus, but they're all integrated, they all work together, right? And I heard something the other day. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Someone said, like when you are thinking about yourself as like a soul, or like an energetic being, and you're like, well, when I leave the physical and I'm, able to like, return to the universe, I'm able to go back to source. Or if you're like a person who is like a star seed, and you're like, I want to return to my home star system, right? And why am I on Earth right now? Or, I've got a mission to do, but I'm going back, whatever it is. Um, we are we are never not part of the universe. We are never uh separated from source. We are never like, well, I'm on Earth and then there's space. Earth is in space. If we're talking about the physicality of like the universe. But then if we're talking about the universe is like all it is, I mean, we're already in it. We're part of it, right? So just that idea of like separation of being like, well, I'm here on earth as a human, right? And then when I'm done with this lifetime, then there's this other thing that will be better than this humanness. It'll be different, right? But it's not that it's necessarily better because we're already experiencing it just with the human perspective right now. So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I articulated that clearly, but it's like we're already there. Is the gist of that, right? And yes, as humans, we have all kinds of things to consider and to experience and to navigate, even like gravity, and the oxidation of our cells and aging and um, energy exchange and currency and money and all of those things, which are so interesting that's what humans, that's what we're focusing on right now, right? We're trying to figure this stuff out. Um, but we are still the universe experiencing itself right this very moment, just with this human lens. And it is my assumption, I don't know, but it is my guess, my intuitive nudging as well, that this human experience, in the grand scheme of things, whatever was before this, and what will continue on after, or you know, parallel realities or simultaneously happening, whatever. This will be like a blink, if we think of like all time that really is no time and all that is, it's quite a lot, right? So I think that in the wake of like this week's happenings in the political sphere, and I mean, all the other things that are going on that have been going on that are going to continue to go on. What has been really sad to me, but I knew it was going to happen because it's not like the first time it's happened. Um, is that there has been more division. There has been more. I'm in this camp and you're in that camp. Or I'm on this side, you're on that side. I'm on this team, you're on this team, right? And it is not all of us, right? But people are saying this is the line in the sand. And I get that when we have a football team that we cheer for, and that football team is playing another football team, that we choose sides and we say, I'm rooting for my team. But it is a game. It is a game that we are watching, right? Or maybe, you're an athlete and you're participating in that game, right? But it is a game with certain rules and guidelines and all of those things, right? And it's really exciting. It's really awesome. Football games can be super exhilarating to watch or to be a part of. Um, but I really, when it comes to, politics, when it comes to beliefs, dogma, all of those things. Um, are all of those things a game too, where we have one team against the other and we pick sides and it's a competition and see which one wins? Or is it not? And I'm not even like, I'm just asking that question for you to kind of think yourself, because when, if you think of like two athletic teams that are competing, okay, just as that example, then we know what the rules are. We know what the game is that is being played. And we pick a side for a variety of reasons, right? It's where we went to school. It's where we're from. It's I like those colors. I like the mascot. Like whatever it is, they're the underdog. Um, a- and so like I understand that, but when it comes to politics, it's still kind of that mentality of this team versus this team. Okay. But we're talking about lots of other things too, because a lot of other things get wrapped up in like what's moral, what's ethical, what's right, what's wrong, what are rights, what's legal, what's all of that, right? And and that's I mean, that's politics, but then when you kind of boil it down, it's kind of like rules of society kind of that are agreed on, if you want to look at it under that umbrella. It's not two football teams competing with each other. Yet that's how people act and behave. And that is confusing to me. It's confusing to me when we're talking about stuff that's really serious. So I'm just saying that because I think it might be interesting for you all to kind of just think about that. I'm not saying one or the other. I'm just saying just think about it. And I will say that I am the type of person that if I were to be in a situation, I or my family or people that I care about were in a situation that I needed to defend myself or those that I'm responsible for and use force to do that. I I do value my life and the people that I am responsible for, like my family, my kids, that I would do what I needed to do to keep myself safe and to keep those that I love safe if someone was attacking me. And I believe that that is my right to do so. Um, there are um, there are other situations that we haven't experienced really in our country, like war in our like on our own land. We haven't experienced that kind of in a mass scale, in a while. I know that there are other countries around the world that are experiencing that like right now and that have been experiencing it for years. And that is it is mind-blowing to me to think that is people's daily reality. Like, am I going to live or am I going to die? Is there any food? Who is going to come at me and take the very little things that I have? Whether it's shelter or food or water. So I can't really wrap my head around that reality because it has not been my reality. And for those of us who have been born in the United States, we've lived here our whole life. We haven't really experienced that. Now, of course, if you've been in the military, if you've lived abroad, maybe you have experienced that in some way. But here in the United States, we haven't experienced that. Um, you know, like actual like all out war. I mean, um, there have been violent things that have happened, but not just like all out war. So what I'm saying is in a scenario or a situation like that, or I mean, if someone broke into my house or whatever, like, I mean, I'm prepared to protect myself and defend myself and take care of those that I love. And I believe that that is my right to do that. Okay. Um, so that's all to say that I think that humans in varying degrees can somewhat agree on like, you know, certain acts or certain things that people do um are punishable by deserving to die. Um and it's not like yes or no. I mean, maybe for some things, for most people they are, but there is kind of like on a spectrum. Um and like if a person takes someone's life, if they murder someone, then I'm just saying, some people may believe them, maybe, well, then they deserve to die. It's a very slippery slope, and I'm not going to get into like all of that right now on my YouTube channel, my little baby YouTube channel. But That is all to say that um I like there are people or people's opinions or people's actions that I really don't like and that I do not align with, but I don't believe that just because someone is an asshole that they deserve to die, by like someone else's hand. Um, and that has been like an interesting but like sad thing to me, but I knew it was going to happen after what happened on the 15th. Um, where there were people who were saying, that too bad they missed, like this person deserved to die. And it's like, I don't understand that personally. Um, I mean, there are uh, almost 8 billion people on the planet, and there are people that have done varying degrees of good things and bad things. But I think that I think a lot of times people really take it seriously as far as like what is an act that someone would do that they would be deserving to be put to death. And I think that kind of like really like, kind of shrinks the options, right? It's not just like, oh, they're a jerk, and so they deserve to die. But, we kind of throw around that language, a lot, which is words have power, right? Um, so I I'm not preaching. I am not on a soapbox. I'm sharing my thoughts and feelings on this, but I really think that it would behoove, and I feel like I've been using that word in like every live that I've done lately. It would behoove us. It would behoove me to really think about, if you're really mad at somebody, whether it's a political figure or if it's, somebody who cut you off in traffic or somebody that or a coworker or whatever, like just because you're mad at them or just because they were mean to you or just because you didn't agree on things, like would they deserve that? I don't really think so personally, but I mean, you have your own thoughts and opinions. This is just me just kind of asking this question for you to like really think about it. Um so anyway, there's that. And but I really feel like what's more important and the really really big picture is that we need to stop fighting each other over stuff. Let's get riled up about football, you know? But when it comes to things like politics, and that's a very broad term, and I'm not just talking about our presidential election coming up. I'm talking about all the things going on in our reality right now. That it's really more than just like a football game. And I understand there's a lot at stake, but how we really make stuff happen and how we really create the world that we want is not by fighting with each other and not saying, well, my team is better than your team. Because that's not what it's about. We come together and we make change. We come together and we create the reality and the world that we want. And that's, it's so strange to me, like thinking about the two-party political system like that we have in the United States. Like it's not supposed to be a two-party political system. I mean, there are other people running for president. But it's kind of like, well, it's just this choice or this choice. And it's just very strange to me that the two main options, okay, are and there's no dig on old people, but are quite old as far as you know average lifespan goes. And I just don't understand how we've even gotten here. How the two options, and I know that there's more than two, I'm just talking about the two main ones who were debating about golf games a couple weeks ago, how that's our best option, one or two. I don't understand. We have a lot of people in our country, who have fantastic ideas and who have a lot of energy and mental and moral fortitude. And these are our options supposedly. It seems like a game. To me, it seems like this is a joke. Ha ha. Really? This is where we're going to be fighting over, you know? So, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not running for president. Um, I'm not going to run for president, but um I wish somebody else would. um and I just know that we can disagree, we can agree on all kinds of things, right? We don't have to be like besties and like, yeah, me too, and agree on everything. But we need to stop fighting with each other. And we need to be able to compromise and to agree and to do things for the greater good so that we can like keep surviving and thriving. And I feel like just so much of all of this stuff is like the point is like the opposite. Oh, if we're all fighting with each other and pretending like this is a, football rivalry, um, slinging this, slinging that, whatever, we're going to be so busy infighting that like whoever else can just do whatever else. And then we're like, man, that sucks. When did that happen? Right? So, use your energy first for yourself, right? Use your energy to get yourself grounded, to get yourself centered, to get yourself healthy, to get yourself peaceful, like centered, peaceful. And then your energy and how you teach your kids and how you interact with your friends and your coworkers and your family and your lover and all of these things, it's like the ripple effect, right? And I'm not saying to never be an activist. I'm not saying to never speak out. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying, you start with you, and then it flows out from you. But if you're just like keyboard warrioring it, on whatever social media platform, which I was thinking today, I was like, how surreal that that's even a thing. That it is such a thing. It is such a big thing in our lives. I mean, I don't know how many times I've caught myself or heard people saying like, "Oh, I saw this thing on Facebook the other day." And I was like, that was not even part of our vocabulary 10 years ago. "Oh, I saw this thing on Facebook." It's like instead of like, "Oh, I saw this on TV," or "I saw this show," or "I heard a conversation," or whatever. It's like, "Oh, I saw it on Facebook." And it's like, and then we're like explaining the meme, or whatever. It's just kind of surreal. It's weird. But anyway, so I kind of went on a tangent there. I'm not sure what I was saying. But anyway, um, when we keep ourselves good and centered and it flows out from there, then things can uh positively change, right? It's like grassroots kind of. And I don't think that I mean, we're highly opinionated beings, right? And I don't think that there are so very few things that are actually factually right or wrong. It's a lot of opinions out there. I think I said that a couple weeks ago. Um, yeah, it's going to be hard to like say, well, and this is the absolute thing that we all agree on. That's going to be difficult, right? But maybe if we kind of like render it down to like the simplest things, then maybe we would have less crap to argue about and to be distracted by and to be distracted by arguing about those really extraneous things. Uh, so I think that as I've been saying, and I'm not like all knowing Meleah, I'm just saying like how I've been feeling for a long time, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. I think that that things are going to continue to get weird. They are going to get weirder, and they're going to get um, potentially messy and scary and weird and just all of those things. And if you want to spend all of your energy like arguing with somebody about something or saying whatever mean thing that you can think of or I don't know, whatever it is, like, I mean, do that. But I don't think that's gonna like really help you get through hard times. I don't think that's gonna really help you, n- like thrive or be happy or have like a different human experience than just like chaos and crap. And if that's what you want, cool. I mean, I guess, but that's not what I'm gonna do. Um, and I think that this circles back to, what I was saying about um that pivotal moment when you realize that you don't want to repeat another cycle. That pivotal moment when you realize, oh, hold up, I'm repeating a pattern or I'm repeating things that I learned. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something different. Then it's on you. And that's where we're at. Like as a planet, that's where we're at. Is like we have repeated these cycles. This is the first time something like this has ever happened. And I don't just mean on the 15th, I just mean like in general, all the stuff that we like to fight about, you know? It's like, do we wanna continue doing that and just, like, eventually just, like, some person pushes a button and then it's like, "Boom, okay, we're done?" Is, like, that where we're going? Is that what we really want? Is that where what kind of energy we wanna put out there even if we're joking or, if we're just letting off some steam or whatever? Or do we say, "No, I don't want to repeat this cycle. We have learned enough and we have been traumatized by and we have traumatized, generation upon generation. Enough. No, it's enough. It's done. We're going to do something different. We came here to experience other things too. And I think that it is up to us to do that. So yeah, when people talk about ascension and they talk about 5D and they talk about, enlightenment and all of these things, it starts with you. And it is a very personal and individual thing, but it helps everybody. And I think that it's weird, like even in like the metaphysical community, and people talking about 3D to 4D to 5D, and then all the other Ds and everything, and there and people. Not everybody at all, but I mean, there were people being like, "Well, I am already in 5D," and all of a sudden their ego's involved, and they're like, "I have ascended. I'm on a completely different timeline than you freaks," whatever it is, and it's like, okay, probably not. That's okay, but that's if you're still just like, well, I'm better than you, or I did the work and I got the gold star, if that's kind of like where you're at, it's like, probably not, and that's okay, but it's not what it's about, you know? It's not what it's about. So, it is thunderstorming-ish here right now in Knoxville, which is fantastic because it has been dry and hot and, as you all know, and, I think that, like, even, like, little times like this, like, if it's, like, raining and it's just, like, maybe 5 degrees cooler outside, we can be thankful for those little things. And, um, I hope and encourage, you all that you will continue to do whatever you feel led to do to, um be connected to how you get your food and how you take care of your bodies and your mind and your families and your friends, and all of those things in kind of like holistic ways, right? Um, and I wonder, this isn't an exact litmus test. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good advice. It was something that kind of came across my mind earlier, but I wonder if you just really sat with things, whether it's world events, popular culture, news, that kind of stuff. If you sat with those things, whether it's a news story or it's a video that you see, or you're researching something or whatever, if you just really sat with what like intuitively felt aligned. And if that's what you trusted, for what decisions you make in your life. um, whether it's who you're voting for or uh, who you choose to do business with or who you align with or who's your friend or whatever. If you just really listen to your intuition and your soul purpose of really why you're here, I wonder how that would go, for you. I wonder how that would go for people. But like it's it's like so much of the decision making is based on debate, is based on facts. Can you see both quotes? Where's my other hand? There. My camera's backwards. I'm like, where's my other hand? Quotes, facts. Right. Talking points. All of these things. It's like uh supposedly we make these logical decisions based on all this information, and then we choose the best choice. Okay. And it could be like comparing one brand to the other, or it could be, I don't know, reading the labels of like two different kinds of pasta, which should be factual. Yes. But I just wonder if we really leaned into what felt right, aligned, not even like necessarily good, but it's like when we felt a sense of peace about it, to me, that's always like a sure sign, like, oh, that's the right one. I don't feel mad. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel like swoony. It's like I just feel at peace. It feels aligned. And I wonder, how those decisions would go if that's how you made choices. And I'm not saying to not do your research and listen to the facts, but I'm telling you what, a lot of the information out there I think is crap. And I don't mean that in a judgy way. I just mean it's not factual. It is information, but I don't think it's really accurate in like a million different layers and levels. And so it's like you're doing all this research and you're trying to make the right choice, but you don't even really know what you're dealing with. It's wild. So try leaning into that intuition a little bit and like leaning into that sense of peace and alignment and like for all aspects of your life, not just like you're going to vote for, but like all aspects of your life. It has never steered me wrong. And I have steered myself wrong many times by not leaning into that. So, um, I pulled 2 cards when I was getting ready to do this. Like, I didn't pick these out, but I pulled these 2 cards. It was, "Don't let your past hold you back," um, and the Tower card, which I felt was very fitting for, um, what message was waiting to come out for the energy update. That the past is the past, and we can say that we have learned from the past, either what not to do or what something's like. And if I want to repeat that again, right? Our memories are there, our other versions of ourselves are there, our ancestors are there, all of that. I'm not saying the past is bad, but don't just say, well, I already fucked up once, so might as well keep fucking up. Like why? I mean, unless that's what you want to do, you know? And then the Tower card, man. The Tower card is like, um, it's it's only really, really bad when we are trying to like duct tape the flaming, exploding tower together and say, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. It's still gonna work." That's when the Tower card is really bad. If we're just like, "All right, it's done. It is decrepit. It is on fire. Lightning has hit it. It is exploding. People are falling off of it. Just let this let's just see what's in the rubble, if there's anything salvageable, and let's just rebuild." So again, just be like, yep, rip that band-aid off, right? It can be good. So anyway, I've turned over, I wouldn't really say a new leaf. Feels like I've kind of gone through like a portal with this shifting the store. It's really good. It's really good. I wasn't planning it. I was kind of anticipating it in the back of my mind. I knew it would happen eventually if I didn't make the decision myself. I did not make the decision myself. It happened, and it's going to be good. Um, And I'm actually kind of excited about this new part of the journey. And I hope that if you are having transitions and changes and shifts in your life, that um, where you are walking into is going to, be the next best version of you in your life, in your experience possible. So hang in there and be nice. Try be nice. First, be nice to yourself and also be nice to other people, even if you think they're jerks. Um, I think that that would really help. Now, if someone's coming at you, bro, and in your face, you have the right to protect yourself and defend yourself, in my opinion. So be safe. And I will see you all next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.